What is the best practice for accountability? This is a question I got asked this week, and it's a great one. And so let's lean into this. What is the best practice for accountability? You know, a lot of us, we might have a goal, we think about it, whether it's professional or personal, but do we have enough self-discipline to step on the gas, take initiative, and get it done? A lot of us struggle with this. This is why the research actually says that a very small percentage of us actually achieve our goals. And this isn't, you know, all depressing doom and gloom. This is just kind of science. And the reason is because a lot of us need accountability. We need that person just to be checking in, helping us stay focused. Okay, so what are some best practices with that? Okay, so a few different things. One of the first things is making sure that when you are setting a goal, okay, and I talk a lot about goal setting in this, when we talk about great leadership, a lot of it in my book, The Three Chairs, how great leaders drive communication, performance, and engagement. I talk a lot about goal setting. One of the things is around, you want to make sure that you set your goal stretching but realistic, okay? So if you set it too high, you're probably not even going to go after it. If you set it too low, then you're not challenging yourself enough. So you want to be stretching but realistic is really important. So once you know what that is, then you want to ask yourself, what kind of accountability do I need? Now, if you're a highly self-disciplined person, you may not really need an accountability partner. You just kind of know what your goal is, you step on the gas and off you go. But if you're like a lot of us, then you might find like you really need somebody to be doing that check-in. And so you might have like 6 or 10 different goals, whether it's personal or professional. Maybe like 8 of them you don't need an accountability partner, but the other 2 you actually really do because you're struggling. That's okay. Okay, this is, you're not alone in this. So you're not alone. Okay, so you want to kind of figure out what topics do I need accountability in? What type of accountability partner do I need? Do you need somebody that's just doing like a little bit of a light check-in? Do you need somebody who is going to be really tough with you, a bit of a sergeant? What kind of accountability partner actually do you need? And then also think about the frequency, okay, with what the frequency is that you actually need for that partner. So you've got to have some self-awareness for yourself around what kind of accountability is going to be the best practice for you, okay? And it's going to be different for me than for you, for everybody. So let me give you a few examples just to kind of help you maybe understand a little bit how I have managed accountability kind of in my own life. So if I think about, for example, mentoring, okay? So I'm a big advocate for mentoring. I've had mentors throughout really my whole career in different mentors in different categories. And one of my favorite parts, this would be more for business and for professional, is having a mentor, having him as my mentor for over a decade. And what he really essentially was my accountability partner. So, you know, meeting him once a month, identify in terms of what are the goals, the things that I had to kind of work on that month, knowing that I was going to be seeing him the following month and going through my little checklist. That's all I needed. Okay, just having that person I highly respect, highly think very, very highly of, and just knowing that I was going to see him once a month and he was going to ask me with what was on my little to-do list was great. That's all I needed. I just needed that check-in and I was good to go, and I worked very, very hard and making sure that I kind of get through my list. And so for me, that was like the perfect kind of the perfect accountability partner. With our team, we do the same thing. So we have our weekly meetings. We identify with what are all the items that we're going to be doing that kind of is focused on our OKRs, or objective key results. We will be doing our weekly meetings. So we have accountability. So it's very clear around what are we working on, and the following week, everybody's doing their report around where are we at in terms of the goal. So having, again, that consistency around what the goal is, making sure it's stretching but realistic, and also making sure that you're going to be doing your weekly check-in and announcing it and sharing with other people is really great built-in accountability. Okay, so that's how it can kind of work on the professional side. The personal side, you might find that you're really disciplined in business, but maybe you're not so disciplined in your personal life. I don't know. Everybody's a little bit different. But I will share with you one area that I really needed accountability was exercise. I was really disciplined in with my time management and the business and all that. But for whatever reason, I just could not get my acting gear with exercising. And I know that it's really good for me. And so intellectually, I know it's good. I know it's going to be good for my mental health and for my physical well-being. And yet for whatever reason, I had a harder time being disciplined with it. And so I asked my family to be my accountability partner. Now, this is not going to work for everybody. All right. I'm just sharing with you with what I have figured out for myself. And so I basically said to my family, I know exercise is important to me or good for me. I know I want to do it. Intellectually, I know I want to do it. I just don't have enough self-discipline to get myself out of bed early in the morning so that I could actually exercise. And so my husband actually had this great idea about that we should all do circuit training in the morning before we all start working, before we all go to school. And intellectually, I thought it was a great idea. Practically speaking, I just didn't have enough self-discipline for it. And so I said to my family, I'm like, okay, I would love for you to be my accountability partner. And so if I am not out the door by 6:50, which is what time we have to leave for circuit training to make it back on time, I'm going to give you a reward, and a financial reward. And I knew myself that would be enough of a little push for me to make sure that I get myself out of bed early enough to kind of get out the door to do our circuit training. And because the idea about giving my kids free money with something that they haven't earned is so against my philosophy, that I knew that would be just what I needed to push myself to make sure that I had enough self-discipline to do it. And what was great is that it made it more playful, made it more fun. All of a sudden, it's like in a bit of a game. And my kids are like, oh, my mom, it's like, 6:49. And they knew that if I was not kind of at that door by 6:50, that they were going to get this little financial, so they would get rewarded. But that was what I knew I needed to get myself up early and out the door so that I would be ready for my circuit training. And since we did that, I have only had to pay them once. It's been a year. So it's worked really well. So the point that I'm sharing is that we have to know ourselves, okay, what is the area what's my goal? Is it stretching and realistic? And if I'm struggling in that self-discipline, who is the best person that can kind of hold me accountable? And do I need just kind of like a cheerleader, or do I actually need a consequence? Ask yourself that, okay? And because at the end of the day, we want to create change. So don't be tough on yourself. If you need an accountability partner, I get it. I struggled in this, and now I feel like I'm my little self-discipline muscle, it's strengthening in that particular area. So now I actually don't have to put the consequence on. But self-discipline is like a muscle. It's an emotional muscle, right? So if we don't have enough muscle in it, then that's where the accountability partner can really help us and encourage us. Okay, so think about your goal, make it stretching but realistic. Think about who that accountability person could be. Do you need a cheerleader, or do you need somebody like an actual consequence that they will hold you to it? And try to make it a little bit more playful. And then watch what happens. You're going to feel so good when you actually start taking initiative on your goals. And so accountability partners are really a really huge piece of the puzzle about helping us achieve our goals.